Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to give you some examples of working with numbers and strings in Python, and I will also show you some common errors and how to resolve them. Okay, so let's get Okay, so I've opened idle and I've created a new file here, and let's start typing some code. In this video we will show an example of converting temperatures from Fahrenheit, let's say, to Celsius. Okay, so how do we display the purpose of the program to the user? We use the print function, where we can just, inside double or single quotes, we can type in a welcome message. Okay, welcome to the Weather Channel. Okay, so with the print, you enter whatever you want to display to the user inside single or double quotes. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is ask the user for the city that they are interested in. And how do we get the input from the user? We use the input function, and inside here in the parentheses we can display the prompt. Okay, so for example, again inside double quotes we can say, please enter the city you are interested in. Okay, so this is displayed to the user, and at the same time, since this is the input function, this returns the result of whatever the user typed in through the keyword. And we save this result in a variable called city. Okay, so city is our variable and stores whatever the user typed in. Okay, and it stores it as a string. Okay, remember, in Python, whenever you use the input statement, all the information is stored as a string. Okay, a string is a series of alphanumeric characters. Okay, so like Boston, Chicago, whatever, you can have numbers in there, anything you want. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to ask for the temperature in Fahrenheit. So again, we're going to use the input function, and we can say something like, please enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. Okay, and we will store this in another variable called, let's say, temp Fahrenheit. Remember, you should use variables that are meaningful. Okay, so temp Fahrenheit stores the temperature in Fahrenheit. And notice here that this is going to store the temperature as a string, as I said. Okay, one problem with strings is that you cannot perform computations with strings. So you cannot add them, divide them, multiply them. Okay, there's no meaning in multiplying like two words together. Okay, so think of a string as a sentence or a word or something similar. So you cannot do these computations, and if you do, actually, you'll get an error, and this is one of the common errors students make. So let's leave it as like this for now, and let's see what error we get when we try to do some computations. So let's convert the Fahrenheit temperature to Celsius, and the formula here, okay, temperature Celsius is going to, temp cells is going to store the Celsius value here for the temperature, and the formula is temp Fahrenheit minus 32 times 5 over 9. Okay, so now okay, so these are simple computations, math computations. Okay, you're all familiar with this. Whenever you are unsure of which operation takes precedence, always use parentheses to be sure. Okay, that's what I always do, because I never remember which operation goes first and second and third. So here let's run this and let's see what error we get. So let's save and run. And notice here you can see that it asks me for the city. So let me type in Chicago. And let's say the temperature, let's say 75 degrees. Aha, so I get an error. It says type error, unsupported operand types for string and integer. Okay, so this means that on this line, there is a string and an integer where you can see it's this variable here and the integer 32, and Python cannot perform the computation. Of course it cannot perform because temp Fahrenheit is not an integer, or it's not a decimal number. Okay, so how do we convert temp Fahrenheit to a decimal, or in this case I'm going to make it a float. A floating point number is a number which has decimal places. Okay, think of it like this. I'm going to use the function float here. So around input, so whatever the result of this, what input statement here, which means whatever the user entered is going to be converted to a float now. Okay, so temp Fahrenheit is going to store a float. And now if you run the program, just save and run, you will see that there is going to be no problem. Okay, let's say 54. Okay, no problem. Of course, it's not outputting anything because I didn't tell it to yet. Okay, so let's see now how, first of all, let's, okay, yeah, let me do something else. Okay, if you try to print out the temperature in Celsius, you will see, let's just do it simply here. You will see that it will print out as, let's see here, in Chicago, let's say 65. Okay, so you will see 18.333, whatever. Okay, so we don't want that. We just, let's keep 2 decimal places. So we can perform a rounding here using the round function. Notice here that in the tip here, you see that it takes a number and then how many digits to round. So the number is in the first place, a comma, you put a comma. So this is the first parameter to the function, and the second one is 2 decimals because I want to keep 2 decimals. Okay, so now we rounded and it should print 2 decimals. One other thing I wanted to show you here is how to format your output nicely. Okay, so let's print out the result here with some new lines, tabs, etc. Okay, so let me show you how you do this. This is pretty easy. Okay, first of all, let me show you what happens if you do this. So let's say you want to print Chicago, let's say Chicago's or whatever the city's temperature is. So we want to add an apostrophe and an S in order to show like Chicago's temperature is blah blah. So we do this with an escape character, which is the backward, the backslash here, and a single apostrophe. Okay, so this is called, this is the escape sequence here, an escape character with the escape sequence. So this is a special character. That's why we use the backslash. And then we use an S. So this is going to add the Chicago apostrophe S, Chicago's temperature here in Celsius is, and now let's say I want to add a tab. Okay, and how do I add a tab? Again, with the escape character and the T. This is the escape sequence for the tab. So this indents just one tab, and then we can add, let's say, the temperature in Celsius. Okay, so what happens if we run this? What we're doing here is we're concatenating, we're adding 2 strings together with a plus sign. So this city, which is a string from the input, is going to be glued together with this string right here, which is, oh, here, I didn't put the double quote here, with this string right here in the middle, and then it's going to be glued with the result, which is temp Celsius. But let's see what's going to happen if we run this program. This is another common error students make. So, okay, let's see, Chicago, let's say 65. Oh, okay, see, we have another error. It says can only concatenate string, not float. Okay, so it actually tells you what the problem is. You're trying to concatenate a float, and this is a float here. So how do we convert this to a string? Well, this is simple. We just convert it to a string this way, the same way we're doing with floats above here, okay? And round, similar things. So now this should work fine, okay? And let's just run it and just see. Chicago's temperature, okay, I made a mistake, and Celsius is a tab 18.33. Okay, let me correct this. And how can you make this better? Okay, let me add new lines. Okay, so let me add new lines. So before the city, I want to add 2 new lines. So we do this with this escape character in sequence. These are 2 new lines. Okay, and what else can we do here? Yeah, I think that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave another tab here just to make it nicer, and maybe just make this space another tab here. Okay, just to make this prettier. So let's run this, and we have Chicago again, 65. So seeing 2 new lines, Chicago's temperature in Celsius is 18.33. Okay, thank you so much. I hope this helped you.